In a world that's becoming more and more obsessed with electric cars and the insane amount of tech and performance that they offer, it's nice to see that you can still go out and buy an affordable, compact sports car with the manual transmission. My name is Omar, and this is the 2022 Honda Civic Si. And it sounds so good. So if you enjoy having some kind of a connection with your car instead of sitting in the back while it drives you around, and if you enjoy driving a manual transmission, hit that like button. And if this is one of my first videos that you're watching, hi, what's up? I'm Omar. I drop new car reviews every single week, so hit that subscribe button because you won't be disappointed. But yeah, I'm not hating on electric cars. They are the future and all that good stuff, but a part of me just enjoys driving a car that gives you some proper feedback. And yes, there are plenty of sports cars that are quicker and faster than the Civic Si, but this is one of the more attainable ones with a price tag of around $27,000. The new Civic Si makes 200 horsepower. It's made it to a 6-speed manual transmission, and it sounds pretty damn nice. Even though this is pumped in audio, it still sounds great. Honda has done such an outstanding job with the 11th generation Civic, and in this trim, well, before the Type R comes out, it gets that much better. The 6-speed manual transmission here is just so easy to shift. It's got short throws. It's got the rev match system from the Civic Type R. It's just easy to go through so you can focus on steering. Steering wise, this thing is pretty tight, and it gets even tighter when you're in sport mode. Handling wise, this thing feels superb. Is it better than the Jetta GLI? Yes. Better than the new Volkswagen Golf GTI? I don't know, I haven't driven that one yet. But yeah, it feels very solid. Now Honda says that this is the stiffest and strongest Si ever. And when I heard that, I thought this was going to be a very uncomfortable daily driver. Well, it's not. It's stiffer than the regular new 11th generation Civic, obviously, but it's not something that you can't put up with as your daily driver. It's actually quite comfortable. So do I recommend the Civic Si over the competition? Let's find out. Let me give you a quick tour of this thing, and then I'll give you my opinion on whether or not if you should buy the Civic Si. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, let's do this. All right, before we get into the pricing details and before I show you the exterior and the interior design, let's take a look at some of the cool and interesting things that you should know about the new Civic Si. All right, we obviously have to listen to the exhaust sound, which Honda says has a 27% increase in exhaust flow compared to the Civic Touring, so let's take a listen. And as you heard, it has a rev limiter. Apparently, rev limiting is also affecting JDM brands, not just German brands. Now, when it comes to drive modes, you have normal and sport, which is cool, but for 2022, the Civic Si now gets an individual mode where you can customize the steering and the engine response. Personally, I've just been keeping this thing in sport mode all the time. So the Civic Si does come with a 6-speed manual transmission, and the shifter has a solid feel with shorter throws. Honda says that the shifter is set closer to the driver compared to the one you get on the hatchback, which I recently tested, and I definitely feel that. It also has the Type R's rev match system, which is a first for the Civic Si, which is not bad for someone just getting into driving a stick. Now, unlike the Civic Touring, the Civic Si doesn't come with a 10-inch digital instrument display. Instead, you have a 7-inch color instrument display on the left, and you have some exclusive Civic Si displays here, including throttle and brake, G-meter, a stopwatch, and a turbo gauge. Those are pretty cool. But here is the interesting part. In other markets like Canada, the Civic Si comes with the 10-inch digital instrument display, and it looks pretty awesome. It has cool shift lights and just looks a lot better. Why don't we get it in the United States? Who knows? Also, the Canadian Civic Si gets heated seats, and it also has a heated steering wheel, which we don't get on any Civic trim here in the US, not even the Civic Touring. So if you want a Civic Si with a full digital instrument display and some heating action, get yours from Canada. As for pricing, the Civic Si starts at $27,300. If you throw in the high-performance tires, you'll be paying just $200 more. The model that I'm testing here is in fact the Civic Si with the high-performance tires. However, since it is getting colder here in the Northeast, those tires have been swapped out for all-season tires. But yeah, not much to break down here. The Civic Si sits in between the Civic EX and the Civic Touring. It's $1,200 cheaper than the Civic Touring, but has 20 more horses. That said, you do lose out on some comforts and tech provided by the Civic Touring, so you don't get heated leather seats. Instead, you have these exclusive Civic Si Sport seats. They look pretty nice and are very comfortable and have the Si logo stitched right into them. Oh, and by the way, these seats aren't automatic. You don't get dual zone climate control, which you actually get on the Civic EX and the Touring. And again, you don't get that 10-inch digital gauge cluster display that you get on the Touring. And the Civic Si apparently wasn't good enough to get a wireless charger, which I'm not sure why. Nonetheless, the Civic Si does keep some cool things from the Civic Touring, including the 9-inch touchscreen display with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and wait, never mind. The Civic Si apparently doesn't bring over the native navigation system. Not sure why. Not like I was going to use it anyway, because I'm going to use Google Maps in Apple CarPlay. You get to keep the premium Bose sound system, and you also get Honda sensing like all other Civic trims, which gives you adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist with lane departure warning, collision mitigation braking, road departure mitigation, traffic sign recognition, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. So let me show you what's under the hood. Again, power comes from a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine, pumping out 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque, and that's made it to a 6-speed manual transmission. VTEC just kicked in. As for 0 to 60, I've seen times all over the place. I was able to get 6.6 and 6.7 seconds. I've seen some people hit 7 seconds and some people hit 6.5 seconds. Fuel economy wise, the Civic Si gives you 27 city and 37 highway. You have a 12.9 gallon tank capacity. I'm averaging, after a couple days of driving and a lot of idling today, a total of 19.9 miles a gallon. Not bad. Now let's take a look at the exterior design of the new Civic Si, which is obviously based on the Civic sedan. And for the 11th generation, you can't get the Civic Si in the hatchback trim. Why? Well, that's just the way it is. Since the Civic Coupe is no longer a thing, the Civic Si will only be available as a sedan, and the hatchback will get the range-topping Type R treatment. But it does get one particular touch from the Civic hatchback. On the front, the Civic Si gets the honeycomb grille from the hatchback. Other than that, the front gets a reshaped front bumper compared to the Civic sedan. It's just a little tucked in right here. From the side, you'll notice it gets a bunch of blacked out trim. Instead of chrome or body colored, you have black window trim, and you have black side view mirror housings. And the Civic Si rides on these awesome 18-inch blacked out wheels. I like these wheels a lot. On the back, the Civic Si looks a little bit more aggressive with the black spoiler right here. A nice little SI badge to let everybody know behind you that you're driving a faster Civic. And at the bottom, you have dual exhaust outlets. But if you want your Si to look a little cooler, you can go for the HPD package for $1,112, which adds on a rear, front, and side underbody spoiler. You've got 6 colors to pick from, including this awesome blazing orange pearl. That will cost you an extra $395. Personally, I'm in love with that new Sonic Gray Pearl color that was on the Civic hatchback that I tested. As for cargo capacity, that remains at 14.1 cubic feet. You can pop open the trunk like that, and it's plenty of room. By the way, if you do want more space, you can just pull these latches right here to fold down the rear seats. Step inside the new Civic Si, and besides a few things, it's pretty much the same as the Civic sedan, obviously. The biggest difference are obviously the Si Sport seats, which again are pretty comfortable. Other Si exclusive touches on the inside include a red theme to the gauge cluster right here. You've got this red pinstripe accent around the honeycomb trim right here. That looks pretty cool. The trim right here on the center console is apparently exclusive to the Si. I feel like it's the same trim on the Civic sedan. I could be wrong. You've got some nice red stitching here on the steering wheel, and then you have alloy sport pedals. And the shift knob here is obviously different than the one you get on the Civic hatchback. It's based on the Civic Type R. As for legroom in the back, you're still working with 37.4 inches, even though you have these sporty seats. I'm about 6 foot tall. That is my seating position, as you can see. Good amount of room. It's actually pretty comfortable back here. I know a lot of people have been complaining about the room in the back seat, but I don't find it uncomfortable at all. Now, before I give you my opinion on whether or not if you should buy the Civic Si, let me point out a few random things that I'll have to show all of you. You have 4 cup holders, 2 in the front, which are actually pretty deep, and then you have 2 in the back in the center armrest right there. The keys for the Civic Si look just like the keys on the regular Civic and any other Honda practically. I wish they would have put a Si logo there. That would have been nice. Door open and close sound from the outside and from the inside. Solid. Charging game wise, you don't have a wireless charger. You just have 2 USB-A ports, one for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto projection, and one just for charging. Rear passengers get nothing at all. No vents, no charging. Sucks to be them. And now for the indicator and horn sound test here on the 2022 Honda Civic Si. Indicator first. Same as the regular Civic, obviously. Now for the horn sound, imagine if the Si got a beefier horn than the regular Civic, but probably not. This is the first time I'm honking it. Here we go. Yep, same old Civic horn. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2022 Honda Civic Si, let me give you my opinion on whether or not if you should buy one. Let's get to it. Oh man, I know I'm acting like this thing has 500 horsepower, and it doesn't, I know. It's just a very fun sports car to drive. So if you're in the market for a sub $30,000 sports car, should you consider buying the Civic Si? Absolutely yes. This is such a fun little car to toss around, and it also has the room and comfort so you can bring along your friends for the ride. If you're in the market for a Subaru BRZ, Toyota GR86 type of car, definitely test drive this before you make your decision. This just feels like a better car. This definitely feels better than the Jetta GLI. Does it feel better than the Golf GTI? I don't know, I'll find out in about 2 weeks when I drive that one. But yeah, if you're looking to drop $27,000 on a car that will put a smile on your face and give you some kind of a connection with the road, this is a great option. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Peace. Can't wait for the Civic Type R. That thing is going to be amazing.